Tonight, the teenage gunman who has destroyed so many lives here shuffled his way into the courtroom. He looked sullen as he faced the judge.
Are you Nikolas Jacob Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. You are charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. I have something very important to tell you. You're charged with some very serious crimes. You have the right to remain silent. If you give up that right at any time during this hearing, whatever you say can and will be used against you in the prosecution of this case. State, how would you like to proceed today? Are you seeking to hold the defendant no bond and a finding of proof evident, presumption great?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, the state's relying on the sworn affidavit that the court has been provided as to the 17 counts of first-degree murder and the contents of the sworn affidavit by detectives citing the actions of the defendant in going to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, 2018, with a premeditated design in that he went loaded with an AR-15 rifle. He had additional ammunition with him and shot 17 individuals who later died as a result of the gunshot wounds, and then he fled the scene. So the state is seeking a no bond hold on the defendant.
Okay, defense?
Your Honor, the defense has no arguments at this time and will defer until further court proceedings. We would formally invoke Mr. Cruz's right to remain silent, and that notification relates to any law enforcement agencies that are involved in this case, both at a state and federal level.
Okay, I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. Mr. Cruz filed in your case, and I find probable cause. I further find the proof of guilt to be evident or the presumption great. Therefore, Mr. Cruz, you're going to be held without bond until further order of the court. This order is without prejudice for you to file a motion to set bond with your assigned division judge and request a hearing under State v. Arthur. Does anybody know, has he been assigned a division judge yet?
Yes, he has, Your Honor. He's been assigned to Judge Shears.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Sir, you're going to be held no bond. Okay.
His defense lawyer insists that Cruz has profound regrets.
He's sad, he's mournful, he's remorseful. He is fully aware of what is going on. And he's just a broken human being.
And there you had it, mere seconds of taking a look at the man who has been charged, facing 17 counts of premeditated murder about the school shooting that we were talking about 24 hours ago today. I'm Brooke Baldwin here live in Parkland, Florida. And let's just start with what we just saw. Paul Callan is one of our CNN legal analysts, and he joins me now live to just, Paul, that was mighty quick in front of that magistrate, being held without bond. Walk us through what we just saw.
Well, no surprises here. This is the first appearance in a murder case, and in a murder case, you appear first before this kind of a local magistrate who really focuses only on the issue of whether bail should be granted. And she analyzed really two things in looking at the case: whether there was probable cause that he committed the crime, and the prosecutor indicated there's a very strong showing of probable cause since they have witnesses that he shot 17 people, and that it was premeditated because of his use of the AR-15.
Shot and killed 17 people, shot many more people. I just want to be exact.
Yes, and that's an interesting observation, Brooke, because I was surprised that the prosecutor only referred to the murder counts, which were 17. Yes, there are lots of other victims of the shooting. She indicated that because it's a charge of premeditated murder, that with a strong presumption of guilt, that no bond would be allowed. So that's it. And under Florida law, he'll appear in front of another judge who she mentioned at the end at a later date, and there'll be a determination as to whether there'll be a preliminary hearing where we'll see more evidence or whether this will just be a grand jury presentation.
Earlier today, the president, a fierce defender of gun rights and the Second Amendment, made his first comments on the tragedy.
I want to speak now directly to America's children, especially those who feel lost, alone, confused, or even scared. I want you to know that you are never alone and you never will be. we are committed to working with state and local leaders to help secure our schools and tackle the difficult issue of mental health.
We sat together in Spanish class, and now she's going to be an empty desk.
Liam Kiernan lost his best friend Gina Montalto yesterday afternoon when the world fell apart at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
I can't believe that I'm here right now, and why did I get out and she didn't, and why did this happen? Like, we could have done so much to stop this.
Holy It's a scene we all hope we would never see again.
I was in the classroom and all of I heard was shots, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
It was the last period of the day when the gunman opened fire with his AR-15. A school employee immediately calling a code red.
So right now we're in a school, an active shooter. It's not a drill. I heard one gunshot. And we thought it was a drill initially, but it's not.
The fire alarm got pulled and kids were evacuating. I heard 5 pops.
The suspect, a former Douglas High School student, allegedly shot into at least 5 classrooms on 2 floors.
He was just very focused. He was very focused on what he was doing.
Terrified students hid in locked classrooms.
I couldn't believe something would happen to a school that got voted the safest place the year before.
First responders on the scene desperately tried to track down the suspect.
Does he know where the shooter is? We don't know, but we're entering the building.
Ericka Duval filmed this as the police broke the window of her classroom door to gain entry.
Breach. Your window. Everyone out the door!
In another classroom, screams of anguish from the wounded as police led the rest of the students to safety.
I thought I was going to die.
10 people still in the hospital, and 17 are dead, including teachers, students, and coaches. 14-year-old Martin Duque, a freshman, his older brother, also a student at Douglas, shared the news on Instagram, writing, "Words cannot describe my pain. I love you, brother." Jamie Gutenberg, also 14, her father accepting condolences on Facebook. "I am broken," he wrote. "Hold your children tight." Gina Montalto's mother mourning the loss of her daughter, writing she was smart, loving, caring, and a strong girl who brightened any room she entered. Authorities say the 19-year-old suspect eventually dropped his rifle on the 3rd-floor stairwell and exited the school.
The suspect crossed fields and ran west, along with others who were fleeing, and tried to mix in with the group that were running away.
Incredibly, he then went to a nearby Walmart, bought a drink, then went to a McDonald's.
He said he was at McDonald's by the school.
Around an hour after he opened fire, the suspect was spotted by Officer Michael Leonard.
He looked like a typical high school student, and for a quick moment, I thought, could this be the person? Is this who I need to stop?
He was apprehended about 2 miles from the high school.
The fact is, law enforcement responded in a very quick manner to the school and probably established a perimeter to ensure nobody was able to escape. However, the suspect clearly had in his mind he was going to shoot and then try to escape, and he was able to get outside of that perimeter before it was formed and contained around the school.
Within hours, police say he confessed to the killings, stating he was the gunman who began shooting students. Investigators are piecing together the suspect's background. Adopted as a baby, he lost his father when he was 5. Just last November, he lost his mother to the flu and went to live with a friend's family. The neighborhood where he grew up, big homes with well-manicured lawns. Neighbors say it was so normal. The suspect really stood out.
Aggressive, crazy, weird, psycho.
Brody Spino spent nearly a decade a few doors down from the suspect. He remembers him having a violent side, even at a young age.
He cornered a squirrel and was pegging rocks at it, trying to kill it. It was just weird.
Former classmates paint an even more twisted picture. They say the suspect was obsessed with guns and was disciplined for bringing bullet casings to school.
About a year ago, I saw him upset in the morning, and I was like, "What's up with you?" He's like, "I swear to God, I'll shoot up this school."
According to ABC affiliate WPLG, the suspect was expelled on February 8th last year. 3 days later, he bought the AR-15 at this gun store less than 10 miles from the school.
Once the school expelled the suspect, they should have known that he may have had a beef with the school.
His social media post also suggested something might be off.
In September of last year, I received a comment on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be a professional school shooter, and thought that to be odd and disturbing, so I forwarded that screenshot to the FBI and reported it to YouTube.
The FBI says they investigated.
The FBI also conducted internal database reviews and open source checks. No additional information was found to positively identify the person who posted this comment. There was no connection found to South Florida.
Tonight, the agency's saying they couldn't track down who the user was, and they're conducting a review of how that tip was handled.
If, as the FBI said, they were not able to determine who that person truly was, my question is, how many people are there out there in America who have posted similar type of blogs that indicate that they are inclined to commit violence, and they have not been able to determine who those people are? That's a huge problem.
Sources tell ABC News this social media account belongs to the suspect. This photo shows him holding a pistol. In another, he's holding a large knife. Law enforcement sources say these social media pages are now being scrutinized for clues. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the suspect said voices in his head directed him on the attack.
He is on suicide watch. The child is deeply troubled.
Some proposed regulations to limit access to guns have broad support among the American public, like expanding background checks and a ban on gun purchases by people on no-fly lists.
This is something that we can't let keep happening, because if we do and we get used to it, it's going to happen again. This is a time for our country to take a look in the mirror and realize there's a serious issue here.
President Trump addressed the nation today.
No child, no teacher should ever be in danger in an American school.
But he never mentioned the word gun once, instead defining the issue through mental health.
We are committed to working with state and local leaders to help secure our schools and tackle the difficult issue of mental health.
But just weeks after taking office last year, the president blocked an Obama-era rule that made it tougher for the mentally ill to obtain guns. Mother Lori Aldif, who lost her 14-year-old daughter Alyssa in the shooting, expressed her outrage directly at the president on CNN.
President Trump, you say, what can you do? You can stop the guns from getting into these children's hands.
The type of gun used in this school shooting, the AR-15. It was used in Las Vegas last year, San Bernardino in 2015, and Sandy Hook in 2012.
I have hunted all my life. I have had guns all my life. I still hunt with my son. But an AR-15 is not for hunting, it's for killing.
In Florida, you can purchase an AR-15 at age 18, which is exactly what the suspect did.
They're technically adults, but we really have to take a look at that law and regulation and determine whether an 18 or 19-year-old are really able to handle that kind of weapon safely and are in a position mentally to not go into a school and shoot everybody.
There are an estimated 5 to 10 million AR-15 rifles in the United States. This afternoon, the suspect appeared via video conference for his bond hearing.
I have something very important to tell you. You're charged with some very serious crimes.
Facing 17 counts of premeditated murder and held without bond.
And I find probable cause. I further find the proof of guilt to be evident.
Tonight, as America always does after a horrific act of gun violence, a search for answers to the question, why? But the even bigger question, will the answers come in time to prevent another horrific shooting? For Nightline, I'm Tom Yamas in Parkland, Florida.